Maddie Clifton was born on June 17, 1990 in sunny Jacksonville, Florida. In 1998, she was 8 years old. She lived with her mother, Sheila, her father, Steve, and her older sister, Jessie, who was 11 at the time. Maddie and Jessie were inseparable growing up. Best friends before sisters. They had a lot in common. They played all the same games, and they did pretty much everything together. This was a time when parents allowed their kids to roam the streets and play with the neighborhood kids as they pleased and roam free. And the girls both loved to play with all the kids in the neighborhood. Maddie was also a very creative kid who loved music and practiced piano every day. On November 3rd, just another normal day for the Clifton family, Maddie practiced piano for 20 minutes and then begged and pleaded with her parents to let her go outside and play with her friends. But when Maddie went out this time, Maddie's friends were mostly busy. A couple friends came to join her later and they played a game of golf in the backyard. But soon they ran out of golf balls, so Maddie went home to get some. However, Maddie never returned to the golf game. So what happened to Maddie Clifton? Let's find out. I'm Louie, and you're watching Killer Bites. They thought that she might have just had to stay home for dinner or something, but she wasn't there either. They think that she's still out playing. So by 5 p.m., it was actually time for dinner, so her older sister Jessie was tasked to go out on a bike and find Maddie for dinner. She rode all around the streets in the neighborhood, calling her name, but there was no sign of her. All the kids had gone home for the evening. Jessie couldn't find her sister. She rode back to the house, and when Jessie got back home, she told her parents that she couldn't find Maddie anywhere, and they were immediately extremely worried. They reported their daughter missing right away, then began searching the streets themselves. Neighbors soon joined in, and with the entire neighborhood looking all night, there was still no sign of her. Days later, over 1,000 volunteers were searching, and police had interviewed nearly every neighbor around. And most claimed they hadn't seen her at all that day. And the ones that had seen her playing golf with her friends around 3:30 p.m., which would be the last confirmed sighting of Maddie. Without any leads, they theorized that whoever had taken her, dismissing the possibility of her getting lost, could have been a local who lived nearby enough to spirit her away quickly, or it could have been someone that she knew. So police ran background checks on the whole entire neighborhood, but everyone seemed quite normal. The only thing they found were the records of a 45-year-old man a few doors down named Larry Grisham, who had sexual assault allegations from 20 years before. Both charges have been dropped, and neither of the charges were against children. So Larry was one of the last people to see Maddie before she went missing. He was playing golf with her and another older boy. He was brought down for questioning, but claimed he knew nothing about her disappearance after she left to go get the golf balls. After searching his home a total of 9 times, they considered him their prime suspect, but they didn't find anything of note. The polygraph that he had taken and being one of the last people to see her were the only things that they had. Without anywhere else to look, they brought in the FBI. A few police officers were stationed at the Clifton home to guard Jessie. Maybe it was someone targeting the family? While they were still hopeful that she might be alive, police began looking for a body with divers, dogs, and rangers. A $50,000 reward was posted for her safe return and increased up to $100,000. Nobody had given up, taking news interviews and volunteers without fail. Despite the coverage, they had come no closer to finding Maddie. Her dad described her as walking out the door and disappearing. A week after, on November 10th, 1998, police had a break. A neighbor had given the police a lead. A mother across the street named Melissa Phillips, it was about her teenage son, 14-year-old Josh. The Phillips family had moved from Allentown, Pennsylvania, down to Jacksonville, Florida, and they lived right across the street from the Cliftons. The Phillips family were concerned about Maddie's whereabouts, and they even helped out as volunteers supporting the search for Maddie. When Melissa returned to her chores, she noticed a very strong odor coming from her son's room. He owned 3 parakeets, and it got smelly in there often, but this smell, it had gotten so strong that she had to start deep cleaning the entire thing. On his bed, she noticed a wet patch, assumed that his water bed must have been leaking. So she tries to find the source of the leak, and she notices that Josh had tried to fix the leak himself, taping the corner of the bed. There was a white sock stuck in the bundle of tape, and when she tried to take it out, it wouldn't budge. And she tried again without success. When she got a flashlight to get a better look, she shined inside the bedroom towards the mattress to reveal the body of Maddie Clifton. Having no clue what to do, she called her husband and left a panicked voicemail in a state of shock. And she decided to run into the street and go to the Cliftons' home where police would surely be stationed. When the police returned to search the bedroom, they confirmed Maddie's identity. It was around 8 a.m. and Josh was still at school. The police searched the entire house, mostly Josh's bedroom. With Maddie's body kept under his bed, Josh had been sleeping on top of her dead body for days. In Josh's bedroom, they found a bunch of incense and air fresheners that he tried to use to mask the smell, a baseball bat hidden under his drawers, a penknife hidden behind the TV, and a few rolls of tape hidden in different parts of his bedroom. In his closet, they found a pair of his shoes that had blood stains all over them, and they were tested to find that it was Maddie Clifton's blood. And they also found her blood all over his ceiling fan. Taped to one of Josh's bookshelves was one of Maddie's missing posters. One more thing that they found that was taped to his headboard, a potential motive perhaps, hidden behind a bunch of pillows, was a picture of Maddie's older sister, Jessie. The photo was stolen from the Cliftons' home. With little debate, they went to Josh's school and arrested him right there and then. During the interview, he began confessing. He said Maddie Clifton was playing out in the street all alone, and Josh said that he was the last person that Maddie Clifton knocked on the door for him to come out and play with her. But he declined because he didn't have his parents' permission, and his parents weren't there that day. So she went out and carried on, but he decided he would play, and then he went to his backyard to play. Instead of playing golf, the two had decided to play baseball. On one swing in particular, he hit the ball too hard right at her, and she went wild, screaming in pain and bleeding. He was afraid to get in trouble with his parents and her parents because he just injured Maddie, accidentally or not. In his head, this is a race against time, and he needs to do something to stop her from crying. He decided the best thing for him to do was to drag her inside the house and up to his bedroom. He tried to stop her from crying, and he covered her mouth and kept yelling at her. Without knowing what else to do, he struck her twice with the baseball bat and hid her under the mattress. So this story is contradicted by autopsy evidence and evidence from the scene, and the police came up with a different story. It seems that in their investigation, they believe that Maddie Clifton was beaten with a baseball bat, but that wasn't what ended her life. After beating her, Josh used a utility knife to repeatedly injure Maddie. Josh was charged with the murder of Maddie Clifton and would be tried as an adult due to the horrific and potentially sexual motivated crime. He had 3 chances to save Maddie's life, but he decided to kill her. And he used multiple methods to this end without taking any of the chances. His trial began on July 6, 1999, and it was highly publicized. He narrowly avoided the death penalty. Had he been 16 years old, the prosecution would have demanded it. The trial went on for only 2 days, and jurors took 2 hours to convict Phillips of first-degree murder, later sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. In 2012, the Supreme Court found that life sentences for minors were unconstitutional, so Phillips became eligible for a resentencing hearing. With this news, Maddie's sister Jessie was terrified that he might get to walk free. Jessie actually spoke out, saying, "She doesn't get a chance to walk on this earth again, so why should he?" The resentencing came up in 2017, but the judge actually upheld the original sentencing of life in prison, and Josh still remains behind bars. And that is the tragic story of what happened to Maddie Clifton. How do you guys feel about this case? Let me know in the comments below. I'm Louie, and thanks for watching another episode of Killer Bites.